Mic check, mic check.
Mic check, mic check.
We recording? Huh? Bienvenidos, amigos, and welcome back to another episode of the MLD PODCAST. And today we are reacting to some of your comments and answering some of your questions left on our previous videos or stuff that you guys do send us via social media. Every now and then we're going to put some questions out there. Every now and then we're going to put the call out there for you to drop the questions down below. So don't forget to do the same in this video, and we might react or comment in our next podcast. So thank you so much, guys. Hit the subscribe button if you haven't already. It's greatly appreciated. And let's get into the first question. So the first question that we received was in regards to one of our comments, maybe in the last podcast, regarding why we would never live in a condo again. So someone had asked, are we looking to buy a place here? And we're like, we're always looking. We're not buying. We're always looking, but we are not buying. But of course, like if the right opportunity came up, aligned with our finances, we would definitely consider buying something in Puerto Vallarta. And we were like, anything but a condo. You want to speak on why not?
So we lived in a couple of condos back in Toronto before our house. Like when we left, we were in a house. Before that, a couple of high rises. They were great while we were there, but there were obviously some issues. I mean, one of them, just the elevators. We had 3 elevators. One was always booked for moving. One was always broken. We were on the 20th floor. There was a lot of we had to go on the stairs a lot, or wait a long time, be stuffed in there. Like it was just
from literally the day we moved in to the day we moved out, there was a broken elevator weekly.
Yeah. And
like 24 or 25 floors. So we had to do the stairs a lot. We had to wait, 15, 20 minutes sometimes with Bassie back then because Callie wasn't born.
There was some interesting neighbors. Like we're not picky with neighbors. Like we don't really you do your thing, but the elevators, we had some kind of weird neighbor issues with like people who let their dogs use their balcony as a washroom, Airbnbs above us.
And we were good for 3.5 years with the neighbors, being a problem until the last 6 months of living.
Yeah, it was a sign, obviously. But I think more to focus on why we would rather live in a house. It's just nice to have your own little yard, have a little garden, some fruit bearing trees, just your own little space. Yeah. I think that's where we're at right now. We would just rather have a little bit more land, to be on the ground floor and have a bit more land. And
also just the liberty to be able to walk out of your house, hop in your car and go somewhere. You don't have to deal with elevators or stairs, which is easier for with the kids to just be able to go outside directly. And we just kind of the same issues that the condo building had with, people complaining and a lot of, chit chat, negative type of stuff in Toronto is still present here in PV. So we have friends living in apartment buildings.
We've talked about it.
Or condo buildings. We've talked about it. So we don't want to get into that, but it's just an unnecessary kind of negative thing that we don't want to deal with. And besides that, like Kathleen said, we're not there. Like that's not where we want to put our money. We really know what we want, and a condo just isn't one of them.
Yeah. And it doesn't have to be a big house, but just have our own little space, a little yard, and maybe the option to be able to, have an office or a spare bedroom for when people come to visit. Which would be really, really nice.
Yeah. Next comment is in regards to our Costco cost of living episode. So check that out if you haven't already. And this person says, do you find that the prices in PV are getting higher and in local markets as well? Just besides Costco. So obviously we've talked about the prices at Costco being on par with USA, Canada, sometimes even more, but our prices in PV getting higher and higher. What are your thoughts?
So what I've noticed is, in general, yes. especially in places where they would have like full staff. So for an example, we went to a buffet when we first arrived here. It was, I think, 90 or 100 pesos a person, and now it's 130. It's at a hotel. So obviously they have staff and the minimum wage has gone up. So you're seeing that reflected in the cost of things. Now, if you're going to like a taco stand or, a mom and pop shop where it's just them working there and they're taking like the profit and that's what, the money they keep. They're not necessarily paying staff. Those places I think are still pretty much the same, more or less, in the last year and a half. But yes, like things where you're hiring staff, these types of things have gone up. Costco, I've seen a few items that we bought last year and I'm like, that was 200 pesos cheaper last year.
Yeah. Even the Condos at McDonald's are getting higher and higher. It's funny because a lot of businesses here have like the old price and then you can see they just stuck a paper on it just to make it. So that's when we know like, damn, the prices are going up again. Within the first 6 months of living in PV, we definitely noticed that the prices had gone up even just from living here in a 6 month like period. So of course, like inflation or hyperinflation is worldwide. People are feeling it everywhere and PV is no exception to that. I'm sure that if you're comparing a restaurant here than a restaurant from back home, like things are still more affordable here in that sense, but there are definitely some things here that you're not saving any money on. So again, it's just important for us anyways, like if we're going to be living here, not to splurge. Like splurging once in a while is fine on a nice restaurant or what have you, but we've honestly found the best places to be the affordable ones. And, there's so many great things to do that are free here as well. Yeah. So why not take part in that?
Exactly.
Next question here. This is kind of a long one. I'm going to skip through most of it, but this one's just talking about like North Americans being hypersensitive, which we've mentioned in a podcast
Canadians
before.
And like people from the US.
And especially those that come here and try to over-defend stuff that is not offensive by any means, just people sharing kind of their experience, which in my opinion, like you can't criticize someone for just being transparent about their experience. That's what happened to them. That's what happened to them. Like, what do you want? What do you want to say about it? But this person specifically says, which I think is funny, like, what happens if PV starts becoming like Toronto?
I'm out.
What are we going to do? And yeah, I just thought this was a funny one. Obviously, Toronto has many great things to it. And it also has some not so great things about it, which stay tuned. We're going to do an episode on, a few things in regards to Toronto, specifically, if we visit there at some point this year. But
great roast of Toronto.
Yeah, the great roast, but we're also going to show, the nice sides of Toronto. It is a beautiful city. If we discover any.
But we left, it was still beautiful. Who knows what happened to it
now? So it's just funny, like if PV becomes Toronto. And the thing that stood out to me in that comment is just how divided everyone and everything is in Toronto. Walking down the street here, you're saying buenos dias, buenas tardes. Everyone is willing to help one another. Very much beach town vibes, even though this is a bigger town versus, some of the neighboring ones. But everyone just has such a good vibe about them in PV. And it's definitely not the case in Toronto. So that's kind of what I took out of that comment. So if it ever becomes like that, and I have to say that there's a lot of tourists, not everyone, there's a lot of tourists, there's a lot of snowbirds that do bring that negative energy from where they're from to PV. We've definitely noticed it on many occasions. I'm sure that if you've come to PV or if you do live here and you're watching this, you've noticed it as well. And it's just difficult to see them bring that type of energy to a beautiful place like this with great energy. I don't think they even realize it. It's like just who they are. I think it takes a moment to really get out of that, mind space And it's definitely hard to get out of that mind space if you're only coming for a short stay, like a week or so. You're still going to be in that Toronto mindset, whatever that means to you. But yeah, I think that if ever it became like that, it became very divisive here. And we felt that just the energy was off. I think we would seek elsewhere to live.
Seek shelter elsewhere.
Yeah. Next comment on here is again regarding the prices in PV. So prices that are surprisingly high. This person did a lot of their shopping at local places, tienditas, and they don't do as much impulse shopping here. And that's what I want to focus on. What are your thoughts on impulse shopping?
100%. I do not do as barely any.
We,
I don't even.
We haven't done any. I don't think we've bought anything that was like impulsive.
I don't feel like the need to do like. Whereas before I was like, it's been a while. I haven't bought anything. Like I need to go buy something. Like it's
you had a rough day at work and it's like payday. You're like, I'm gonna go to the
Eating Center and buy myself something. Like it just never happens here. I mean, it's just really like, okay, the kids are literally growing out of their clothes. They need new stuff. I'll get it. Or this, swimsuit has no more elastic in it anymore. I'll, get another one. Like it's when we need something, we'll go look for something. But yeah, like I just don't feel the need to purchase stuff.
I think that's been like one of our biggest shifts in terms of mindset. And we weren't over consumers by any means back home. Liked a little bit of shopping. We did a lot of thrift shopping and sold a lot of stuff as well. We're like hustling to like be able to buy new things by selling old things. But
no comment.
I think that moving here, our mindset has really changed. Again, we've talked about this before, how we were like, let's go a year without buying anything, even like kitchen related or house related, and see what we really need, and then invest in things that we really need that will be, beneficial to our quality of life, if you will. And that's exactly what we've been doing. We haven't bought anything that we're just like, I'm buying this to fill a void now, because like, it's just the vibe here, right? It's just the quality of life. If we want to fill a void, if we feel stressed or unhappy about anything, we have like world-class beaches, just,
we just
a short drive away. We're able to put our feet in the sand, get some grounding in, and just watch an amazing sunset and be in awe and come back home, and just all of that is completely gone, right? Mm-hmm. So yeah, like completely agree. Some people do still do impulse buying here, but I mean, for us, it's really not a thing that has been part of our life.
Yeah, and you can do impulse buying, but I would say overall, like PV, the shopping scene isn't a big thing here. It is a beach town, and so there is limited. If you're like coming here to shop and like impulse buy, I mean, I'd say go to Guadalajara.
Yeah, go to a bigger city, Mexico City, maybe.
I'm not going to lie. I'll be completely transparent. Like some people are saying they don't like to shop.
I didn't say that.
But I have had like, sometimes I'm like, I wouldn't mind just taking a flight. It's 40 minutes, go to Guadalajara and see what's there. I haven't really been to check it out. Maybe I won't feel the same once I get there. But yeah, like there's parts of me that sometimes, it would be nice to go on like a treat yourself day.
It'd be nice to like have a closet revamp in some sort, even like just going to a good thrift store in Toronto and just buying a few new pieces, because like I have a lot of clothes here, but I'm just still wearing the same things over and over.
We are. And I will say, as much as we do love the beach and the sea air, it does a job on certain like materials and clothing, zippers, these types of things get.
I have like bathing suits that were like size 34 waist. Now they're 42. Because it just like swimming in pools, swimming in the ocean is just stretched out. Everything's
zippers are rusted. I can't open some bags. Like we probably do need to go, and it wouldn't really be an impulse
bathing
shop,
suits.
But
we need bathing suits.
Yeah, we need to go. But yeah, there's just like, we're kind of like, whatever, we'll make do. I feel like that's still the vibe.
I think when we go back to Toronto, we'll hit up a couple thrift stores and we'll get our impulse shopping out. Next question is, this family is planning a trip in the summertime to PV. She's going to be hot. And any safety concerns with your littles or kiddies?
The only safety concern I can think of is, well, I mean, first of all, yes, it is very hot. Make sure everyone stays hydrated.
Mm-hmm.
The other thing is just the water in general, and that's like any time of year.
Mm-hmm.
We've talked about it before to, test out the water, feel out the tide, watch for red and yellow flags, watch what other people are doing.
Even our kids like playing, if the waves are too big, sometimes they just like playing on the edge, or even just playing on like the water, like the
sand, like
the sand
surf.
close to the water. But sometimes there are surprise waves that are coming in like a lot bigger than the normal ones for that time and period. So I'd say, yeah, just watch them, stand in front of them, like break the ocean to the sand so they don't get dragged out.
Yeah.
But water being basically like the main concern.
Yeah. And if you have like life jackets or floaty things for them, like bring them. They're very available here.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to pay a little bit more along the beach areas, but you can also get them at Walmart, Costco, any sort of whatever Mexican department store. They all have them. If you don't have one, I would suggest getting one here just to be safe. But that is the major safety concern in terms of crime and danger. I have
there's
not had any issue.
There's just stay vigilant.
Yeah.
Like
they're kids. Keep your eye on them, of course.
Normal stuff.
Just normal stuff, but nothing out of the ordinary.
And yeah, stay hydrated, especially if you're going on any sort of hikes. At the beach, definitely stay hydrated. Invest in an umbrella if you can, or buy or rent an umbrella when you do go to the beaches, because especially Playa Camarones, Playa Los Muertos, there isn't a lot of shade. You're just right in the sun all day long, and the sun is very strong here. So definitely invest in an umbrella if you can, and that's basically it. Like in terms of even catching, any sort of bugs while eating, like having stomach issues or drinking water, we've never had an issue.
No, again, just normal stuff. Wash your hands, especially like if you're handling money, if you're going on public transportation, like wash your hands, and before you eat, especially, don't let them put their hands in their mouth.
And have a great time.
Yeah, and have a great time.
This person is asking if we'd ever consider doing a video in Français, in French.
Oh man.
So I'm on the fence. Obviously, I speak French, but
obviously,
if you haven't noticed, I have a little bit of an accent. Accent aigu. Yeah, so we've been on the fence with this one because we don't have a lot of Canadian subscribers or viewers. A lot of them are from the United States and Mexico. And the third one is Canadians. And
two, I am terrible at French.
Which is fine. It could be like the fun part of the video. Just mixing up French and Spanish.
Basically, I'm just going to speak Spanish.
So yeah, I wonder like if doing a video in French for us would bring in more French subscribers or not, if it's worth it. That could be the reason why our Canadian viewership is so low, because a lot of snowbirds here are French Canadian. I don't know if they're watching YouTube or if they're watching, only YouTube in French, but it'd be interesting. At the same time, we don't want to kind of alienate like our Mexican and American subscribers by just doing a video in a specific language. I think if our goal is to definitely start doing some videos eventually in full Spanish. That's like one of our main goals with this channel, but also do videos in English as well. So continue doing that. But comment down below, guys, like if you're an English speaker, if you're Mexican, if you'd like to see videos in French, if that's something you'd want to see. And if you're French, definitely comment down below so we know you're out there. I've been randomly receiving more and more messages or comments in French, actually, or people that do speak French. So interesting how things change.
Maybe you could speak French and I would just speak English still, like super Canadian. exchange.
Okay there, eh? Hi, there's Kathleen here at the taco stand. This next comment here is about a person that's been coming down to PV for many, many years. And they've definitely noticed the change, but no matter how much PV changed, they're still absolutely in love with this town and they'll continue to come here. So I just want to talk about maybe some of the changes that we've seen and what we think and if, we still love it here. Obviously, from the time we came here, I don't know if there's more tourists this year versus last year. I'd like to see the stats on that, but we're definitely noticing it a lot more, especially being in a more residential neighborhood. We're definitely noticing a lot more snowbirds. The prices are going up well.
Living in a residential area where there aren't a lot of foreigners and then heading into downtown and into the more touristy areas, we're like, whoa, there's a lot of tourists here. Where I think before when we lived in it, we didn't notice it as much because it was just normal.
Even when there's a foreigner like within our neighborhood, we're like, hey, where'd you come from? I've never seen you before.
This is my street.
Yeah. But yeah, we've noticed, like I said, like the prices of things going up. The city just seems to be a lot busier than what it used to. And that being said, there's so many pockets within PV that you don't have to be in those specific areas. Like we feel like we're kind of isolated from that to a certain extent. And we're just, minutes away, literally. Like we cross the road and we're in Cinco de Diciembre neighborhood.
But I have been seeing comments on like Facebook groups of people who come here for many years. And they're saying that, half of them are saying that it's so busy. And half of them are saying that places are dead and that there's like, people are not coming here as much, maybe due to the prices. I don't know. So I'm not really sure what to think about that. It seems to be like two different stories. Maybe it depends where you're going and certain neighborhoods, like you're saying. But there's definitely a camp on Facebook that are like, it's extra busy, or like I hear that the number of people coming into the city is at an all-time high. But then some people saying like the restaurants that I've always frequented where I couldn't get a table right away before are empty. Hotels have so much vacancies. I don't know.
And we've only been here for a year and a half, so we only know as much as we know. We don't know what it was like before then. And even like before COVID, I'm sure during COVID, it was significantly more dead than it is now.
But yeah, we're not hanging out at these more touristy spots where I think that they're saying that there's lineups. Like, I don't think we've ever, other than Pepe's, I don't think we've ever really seen a lineup.
And that being said, like we still like to go for walks on the Malecon and just be amongst the tourists and people watch. Like it's still something that's really fun for us. We're also, coming from Toronto where there is a lot of tourism. It's, and we'd like to go to those places that were, there was a lot of tourists and just kind of people watch. Like it's something that we like doing. So we definitely still take part in doing that. We're not tired of it and we can still get away from that. There are many beaches that you can go to that are basically like dead.
Locals only.
Yeah.
No, just kidding.
And just dead with no one on them. So there's a lot of like hidden gems and a lot of little pockets to PV that you can kind of tuck away in and really get to experience that local culture.
And certain days. So I will say Sundays, if you want to go to the beach, like that's a day that will be very crowded at beaches and stuff like that, certain restaurants in the morning. But weekdays, during the day at any time, especially when it's like in morning times, the beaches are pretty quiet. So if you want to just have a quiet beach day, head out early, head out midweek, and you'll probably have the beach to yourself in many cases.
And the last comment we have on here is, how do we pay rent, cash or transfer? And I just want to elaborate a little bit more on, how we pay for everything here, cash or card.
It's efectivo, cash only.
A lot of places are cash only.
So be prepared for that. Renting, the 2 apartments that we've had, they only want cash. Even when I got a bank account here and I was like, hey, can I just transfer you the money? It would be a lot easier. Because our first place, like I'd have to take all this money out from the bank and then walk across the city with this lump of cash, which felt weird to deliver it to the landlord. So I was like, is it safer? Is it just more convenient to transfer it to you? She did not want it. A lot of places don't want transfer because they don't want to pay taxes, is what I understand.
And to pay fees. Yeah, on like if you're paying credit card or what have you.
So we pay here, we pay cash. Most people are in that situation from what we understand. They want a cash payment.
And a lot of restaurants, a lot of tourist things, most of them are cash, with the exception of like if you're in a touristy type of area or a bigger restaurant. But you know what? Like it's a little bit of an extra effort for us to have to go to the bank and get cash. But I do appreciate the cash economy, especially when it comes to local small businesses, one person just setting up a little table outside their place. Like you're just putting your money directly into that person's pocket versus having to go through a lot of other stuff that we won't get into. But I definitely do appreciate just the cash economy here. And I prefer paying cash, paying the tips cash as well. It's just a better way of living, in my opinion.
Like some restaurants will take, and other businesses will take card, but they will always say that they prefer cash. They might charge an extra fee if you are paying with card. Even Costco. If you go to Costco, there's two prices on all the items. And one of them is if you pay with cash, debit, or Costco credit card. If you're paying with another credit card, you are paying, it's a very small amount, like a small percentage extra. So it's actually cheaper to go there with cash, or I don't know if Canadian American debit cards would work there, but your Costco credit card specifically.
Costco credit cards, Canadian or American, do work there. Why wouldn't they?
No, I'm saying debit cards.
Oh, debit cards. I think, I don't know, but Costco's on that hustle. They know.
Yeah. The last comment was about the Costco cookie. They were sad about the churro not being in there anymore. And I have to say, the Costco cookie is delicious. What did you think?
Yeah, the churro sucked. So anything different is definitely better.
Yeah. So I was reading reactions. There's like a PV Costco Facebook group.
PV Costco cookie Facebook.
And no, but I was reading like it's the Spanish language, like reactions of people on the Costco cookie. And I will say, if you're worried about it, if it's like gentrification, like churros replaced by a cookie, people are taking this very well. The churro was not, I would say, not authentic. It was baked. It should be deep fried. It was okay. I wouldn't call it a churro though, like churro themed. But people seem to be happy that they got rid of it because it was basura. And
and there's people that you can just buy it off the street for way cheaper, way better. Yeah.
And the cookie is a welcomed item to the Costco lineup.
A good cookie is hard to find here. A good soft, buttery cookie.
Warm cookie. Serve it warm, guys.
Very hard to find. So yeah, the cookie definitely hits. It's a little bit expensive at 40 pesos, but it's definitely worth getting two of, like we did.
One secret one. You hide
one for later. And the Costco cookie. And it's just funny here, like the Costco menu in general, there's no fries, there's no chicken tenders.
There's no deep fryer back there. So like that's why the churro wasn't good, because it was baked.
Yeah. So Costco cookie, guys, is definitely good. Not the best cookie we've ever had, even within PV, but definitely one of the best for sure. And that's it for us, guys. Thank you so much. Drop the comments or questions down below in the comment section. And if you've made it this far, help us get to 5,000 subscribers and subscribe to the channel. It's free for you and it's happy for us. So thank you so much. We appreciate every single one of you. We'll catch you guys in the next episode. This is our journey. More Life Diaries. Peace.